And that's where hope is, So we need to feed the soul. We need to actually have that spiritual happiness, understanding that the body is so temporary and it's not going to last very long. And it can, like the man who had a bicycle accident, and now his whole life has changed completely.
Yeah.
So there's really no hope for the body. There's really no hope for the material utopia. But there's eternal hope for each individual person to have love, to have, relationship that will not end when the body ends, that will take us through this temporary journey in this physical form, and carry us beyond that.
Hey there, welcome to the Breaking Trail podcast. My name is Ruben, and I'm one of the hosts of this podcast. The other person is Balakhilya, that you heard speak in the beginning. If you have followed us on social media, you've seen that we've had a lot of focus on death and leaving this world in the latest weeks, it seems. So now we wanted to balance out by releasing an episode we recorded just a month or two ago about that there is hope. There is real hope for you, the spirit soul, regardless what happens. And later today we're gonna speak, we have a live stream about death of a loved one. So in those circumstances in particular, but any, it's so important to remember this. So I hope that this podcast will be inspiring to you, and that you can share it to anyone that you feel would need to hear some inspiring words and warming words. This is episode number 48. Yeah, like I said, Balakhilya, I wanted to talk about hope today. There is a song that we just made. We just had this small little concert tour for nursing homes, and me and my wife and her twin sister, and one of the songs that we actually made right before the first concert, and I guess we made the song actually in half an hour maybe. Our friend Lakshman, he had a melody that he was playing on the piano like from before, or some part of it at least. So, and then he started playing that, and some text just appeared in my mind, and then we found some more text, and so the text just appeared in a minute or so, and so we played that song. It's a Swedish song, and because we wanted some more recognizable songs for these nursing homes, not just in English or whatever we have, but something.
It was in Swedish?
It was in Swedish, yeah.
Oh.
And
in a Norwegian nursing home.
Yeah, well, it's, it's similar. And we had some Swedish people actually reacting to that as well. Like, they were very, very happy that they heard a Swedish song. So yeah, but and that song anyway is called "There's Hope," and that's, we had, just had really interesting experiences with people that really appreciated that song and our concerts, and we are also not just playing music, but also adding mantras into the music. So it's really something special, and I just wanted to maybe today share a few stories and talk about how there's actually hope, because that's the feeling that I brought with, like, that I was, touched with after I saw these people and their reaction. I was really touched with that feeling and thankfulness of being able to share hope to these people. And
nice, yeah.
So it's very, yeah.
So yeah, tell us about it. I'm interested.
I can tell you one. Maybe we could. There was one, because I spoke about the Swedish guy. So the Swedish people. There was one Swedish person who was at one of the nursing homes, and he was maybe in his 50s, quite young for being in a nursing home.
Yeah.
But I saw that he was maybe not really there. Like, he was kind of spacing out a bit, and I heard that he was Swedish, so I started talking to him, and this was before the concert, and he said how he had been in a accident on his bicycle. He didn't wear his helmet. He usually always wears his helmet, and then one day he decided not to wear his helmet for some reason or other. He didn't understand why he would do that, but so he got hit by a car and he hit his head. To the degree that he was now in a nursing home being taken care of, and was because he had to have a major brain surgery, and so he was kind of slightly damaged in a way,
Wow.
And then, the song that I was referring to, the Swedish song "There's Hope." This was a bit later in the concert, but already after the first and second song on the concert, he left. He had to leave the concert, and I was told after the concert, so he didn't get to hear the Swedish song, and I recorded it for him. I sent it to him. I wanted him to hear that, and to inspire him, to help him see that there is hope, but I was told the reason that he left was that it was all too emotional for him. Like, he couldn't deal with all these. He had kind of shut down his emotions. He didn't want to deal with all the things. It was touching him too much, what he heard and the concert.
Wow.
So he left.
Wow.
But that's
Yeah.
one of the in this song, the chorus is in English like this: "Like a flame is lit in me, you wake me up to life again. A faith I've never had before. No, a faith I've never felt before. A hope I've never had." That is the. So yeah, just.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know. I wanted to speak about where hope is to be found, how we can give people hope in this difficult time, and inspire everyone who's listening to this out there, and that really there is hope if you look in the right direction, if you know what you should be doing with your life, and if you know in which direction hope is, then really there is real hope, not just temporary relief hope, like, oh, it's going to get better, or, oh, the war will soon be over and everything will be good again, and just empty hope. But there is real hope somewhere,
Yeah, there's that saying, which I really never have fully understood, but let's hope against hope. You ever heard that?
I've never heard that.
Yeah, I've heard it my whole life. And one time a person asked me, what does that really mean? Because it's often used. And I really couldn't answer, because hope against hope. In other words, I guess it seems like there's no hope, but you hope that there's real
So
hope.
So there's really no hope. So everything you have is just an empty hope for the hope.
Yeah.
I see.
Something, I don't know. But anyway, the point is, I guess, that everybody's hoping that things will get better, like you said.
Yeah.
And that means, all the problems and difficulties that we have now maybe not go away, but get better.
Yeah.
And it all comes back to, I'll be more happy. So really, happiness in the world as we know it it's not real happiness. It's not positive happiness. It's like negation of the negative. If I can get rid of all the negatives, then I'll be happy. And as time goes on in our modern society, the negatives just keep increasing.
Yeah.
It used to be just some, maybe it's a health negative, my health is bad, or, my relationship is bad, or, my financial situation is not good, or, but now it's like those are minor compared to what it used to be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's our internet.
Yeah, it's just disappeared. Haribo, where you been?
I put some fire on the fireplace. put some wood on the fireplace.
Well, there's hope.
I just saw a funny thing, inspiring thing, and hopeful thing. My cousin Adam, he's in the wheelchair. I guess I've mentioned him before. A kind of wheelchair adventurer, and he's taking part of Let's Dance in Sweden now. And he's one of the, there are only 5 pairs dancing left, and he's one of the pairs that are still in the competition.
Wow.
Very inspiring. And he's really good.
I mean, does he get out of his wheelchair to dance?
No. He's in his wheelchair dancing. Yeah.
Oh.
You should watch some clip. And anyway, it's just advertising breaks all the time. You watch over 10 minutes and there are ads, and then 10 minutes more ads. So this was the first break. But anyway, that's inspiring and hopeful. You were saying...
Yeah, I think that, there's so much difficulty now in the world. I mean, in any area that you look, that as far as a comfortable material situation, it seems like there's no hope.
Yeah.
And the people who seemingly have the bigger picture on the future, I mean, it's not a bright picture. It's a very dismal outlook. So if you're looking for a material bright light somewhere, it doesn't look like it's going to be there. And from our Vedic scriptures, as we know, this is Kali Yuga, and Kali Yuga is by design that time period that things get darker, get worse, more difficult, on all levels of material life.
Yeah.
And that's a guarantee. I mean, there might be periods of seeming like, oh, it's getting better. But, it's like in winter. There's days when the sun's out and it gets warm and it looks like, oh, wow, things are really nice. But it's just very temporary. And then the reality of winter comes back with the storms and the drop in temperatures and whatever.
Yeah.
So Kali Yuga it's like that by design. I mean, and mankind, is not going to change that. I mean, that's beyond our control.
As hard as we try to change the weather and change, put particles in the air so that the greenhouse effect will be less. I mean, crazy stuff.
Or develop AI and all the other things we might envision will change things.
Yeah.
But it won't. Because what happens in Kali Yuga is the consciousness degrades. That's really what happens.
Those sorts.
The consciousness degrades, and then as a result of that, things are affected in a negative way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, our spiritual master, Bhaktivedanta Swami, has, made reference in some of his purports in Srimad-Bhagavatam or whatever, that, if the consciousness of people could be elevated, then the whole concept of the Kali Yuga decline could be reversed, could be overchanged.
Wow.
I mean, could be overcome, could be changed. Mm-hmm. So that's where real hope is, is in a revival of consciousness. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole message for life, really. I mean, hope is in a spiritual revival of consciousness. Mm-hmm. And that's the process of bhakti yoga that makes it so any individual can take that process and sincerely apply it, and that revival will occur. And as we all know, I mean, we're not going to stay in this body very long anyway. You know, I mean, it's like such a temporary stopover. And when you're older, like you were in the old age homes,
Yeah.
well, in general, people there are in elderly bodies. I mean, this 50-year-old man, that's an exception, and 50 years is not 10 years or 20 years old. You know, that's some advanced stage too. And so they look at their future and they know there's what is the hope here? I'm getting older every day. My body's, you know, getting more and more debilitated, and I'm going to be gone soon.
Yeah.
So even if outside the old age home everything is really good, you know, for those individuals, it's almost done, you know. The journey's about to end. And every day in those homes, somebody, maybe not every day, but, you know, certainly frequently, somebody does leave their body. You know, for them, the journey's over.
We had one place that said when we had a concert that the night before, two people left their body just during the night, you know, so they missed out on our concert. Just, and it could have been anyone, like could have been any one of these guys.
Yeah. So in other words, there's no bright future, materially speaking, for one who reaches those advanced stages, you know. My mom used to always say when she got older, she would say, you know, I'm living on borrowed time. You know, it's obvious that, you know, my time is really over and I'm just living, you know, a few more days or years or whatever, like as a bonus kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, so if we're trying to find some hope in a material situation or solution, really, it's a hopeless endeavor.
and it's really that hope is what they love, these elder homes, these nursing homes. What they love is old songs to remind them of their youthful years when they were young and fresh and their body was healthy and strong, and they just
and they had good times. You know, oh, I remember when we, you know, did this or went to the parties or the dances or.
But maybe that's
the love affairs, and I mean that's what really sticks, you know.
It's kind of like longing back to the years when they felt that there was really hope, when, you know, the hope for the hope. You live in, you know,
such a bright future.
Yeah.
You know, life was exciting, and
we had a song,
you know,
that it's called "The Dance Towards Spring." Very, you know, I'm in my youthful body, I'm young and I'm fresh, and I'm dancing to spring, and we were dancing during that song, and everyone loved it. You know, they were like brought them back to their youthful years.
Yeah. Great, because that's the nature of the soul, isn't it? To be eternally youthful.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's reality. The soul is eternally youthful, and therefore there's eternal hope. You know, there's another saying: "Hope burns eternal."
Yeah,
but not material hope. See, so hope, because the soul is eternal and eternally youthful and eternally vibrant and joyful, etc. Even in the worst situations, you know, we try to find some hope. Hope burns eternal, you know.
Yeah.
But that's why we need to know who we are, really. I mean, we've talked about that a lot over many podcasts. And that's where hope is. I, the spirit soul, have a hopeful future. Life is not hopeless, you know. And we can go forward in that direction if we choose to.
And that is one thing I reflected on playing for these these people, that it's so obvious that they're the same. They have the same desires, the same inner world, like me or any young person. It's just that they're more. It's kind of like going back to the child stage. They're more limited in their ability to express themselves or to fulfill their desires. But you see that the same driving force is there. It's just that they have, their equipment is getting older, but the same youthful spirit soul is there. So that's
exactly, yeah. But unfortunately, we aren't taught who we really are. And that reminded me of something as you were just saying that about old people. But I remember, in 1967, 68, somewhere in there, I was young and I was feeling good and living the life, and living in Hawaii and, totally healthy and surfing every day and, had many friends. And so there was a kind of like a small group of us that were all kind of friends. We knew each other from different things, not all surfers, but, guys, girls, and so on. And one girl in this group was hunchback, and she was very short, very thin, and very big hunchback.
Wow.
So when she walked, you can envision she walked, as they do. And, she had an attractive face, but her body was very distorted from birth.
Oh, of course.
And I always looked at her from my perspective of, young, vibrant, healthy, whatever, as somehow she didn't have the same feelings that I have, or she didn't have the same desires that I have. She was different somehow in her inside. But then there was an occasion where it became obvious to me that she wanted the same thing that I wanted. She wanted a boyfriend. Of course, she didn't have one, but she wanted a boyfriend. She wanted love. She wanted people to, to treat her just like, she's normal and et cetera, and be happy.
Yeah.
And it just was a stark awakening for me. That moment when I realized that, I'll never forget it. It's like, wow, she's no different than I am.
Wow.
And it's true. We're all spirit souls, and we all want the same thing: happiness, love, affection, relationships. People like us, we like them, etc. That's eternal. That's never going to be different than that.
Just like this, there was one person who came to the concert, and he was very debilitated in his body. Like, he couldn't move, he was almost paralyzed. So his head was lying towards a headrest on the chair, and he was lying back like this. And they drove him into the concert, and during the whole concert, he had his mouth open somehow, and because he couldn't really control his face and everything. But the lady who took care of him, he was crying the whole concert. And the lady who took care of him, who drove him to the concert, she started crying because she saw how emotionally, affected he was by the concert. And
wow.
So you made me think about that when you said your friend as well. You see this person, it's okay, so this is his body, but inside he's the same. He has the same, like you said, desire for love and for happiness and for all these things. Just like
yeah. And that's where hope is, So we need to feed the soul. We need to,
exactly,
to actually have that spiritual happiness, understanding that the body is so temporary and it's not going to last very long. And it can, like the man who had a bicycle accident and now his whole life has changed completely, or this person you just referred to in the wheelchair, that, whatever happened to him can happen to anybody, you know?
Yeah.
And like, or the COVID, you know, that's affected the lives of so many people so dramatically, you know, and it can happen anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
So there's really no hope for the body. There's really no hope for the material utopia. But there's eternal hope for each individual person to have love, to have, you know, relationship that will not end when the body ends, that will take us through this temporary journey in this physical form, you know, and carry us beyond that. Mm. And that's, again, the message that every true teacher has passed to us, you know. I mean, whether it's Lord Jesus or Lord Krishna or any of the great masters, the message is the same, you know. And it's never going to be different than that.
I'm going to read, if that's okay, a purport in Srimad-Bhagavatam that just on this topic. As always, you know, I find little quotes and little inspirations here and there. So I thought,
yeah, that's your position on the podcast. That's wonderful.
Very happy to do that. So Bhaktivedanta Swami writes in the purport to Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10, Text 43, to give hope to such foolish conditioned souls who waste their energy in this temporary material world, the Lord gives information that there is another nature which is eternally existent, without being occasionally created or destroyed, and the conditioned soul can understand what he should do and how his valuable energy may be utilized.
Yeah. The Lord gives hope.
Yes.
To the conditioned soul. And if somebody may not understand what it means, conditioned soul.
I was thinking, yeah.
You know, the soul is eternal, but when the soul comes in the material world, it becomes conditioned by the modes of material nature. And therefore, you know, it's not our pure understanding, our pure vision, our pure nature that's exhibited, but it's conditioned by these modes of nature, you know. And so we come up with all this, you know, perverted understanding of life. I am the body, for instance. That's a material conditioning, you know. Or there's hope in this world, or I can be happy here, or that's a material condition. It's not true, you know.
You've just been,
and so the conditioned soul needs to know the truth to get out of that illusion. So Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada refers, and also the Lord, when in the various speakers of these truths, refers to conditioned souls. And we are those conditioned souls. But the conditioning is temporary and it can be removed. I mean, we know it in society. We're conditioned to think. We hear that, don't we? We're conditioned to think that whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Like we're affected, we're shaped to think, or we're affected, or we're influenced to, right? Yeah.
The advertisers, they're experts. That's our whole agenda, is to condition us to think that we can be happy by buying this product or eating this food or going to this exotic island or, you know, being successful in one way or another. That's a conditioned state. And so the opportunity to remove the conditioning is given by the Lord, just like you read. Can you read that one more time?
To give hope to such foolish conditioned souls who waste their energy in this temporary material world, the Lord gives information that there is another nature which is eternally existent, without being occasionally created or destroyed, and the conditioned soul can understand what he should what he should do and how his valuable energy may be utilized.
Yeah. See, the Lord gives that information. And that Srimad-Bhagavatam is full of that information. Or Srimad-Bhagavad or, these scriptures, that's the content. That's what they contain for the conditioned souls.
And one of the obstacles of getting to that is the first sentence, meaning we might have to give up our false hopes that we are doing fine and this world is our home and the world is a place where we can find hope. He says we waste our energy in this temporary material world. We're running around. So we have to. It's not that we want to point finger at someone, but we have to look into ourselves. Like, am I really doing the best for me, or am I really? Yeah.
And the verse 3, the foolish conditioned souls.
Yeah.
We're so foolish, but fools are easily fooled. I mean, we're victimized. We're just so foolish that we believe anything and everything that comes down the pipe except the truth. And that we throw away.
Yes, exactly.
We don't believe that. Here's the truth. Oh, I don't believe that. But here's absolute nonsense. Oh, yeah, I believe that. Yeah. That's foolish, isn't it?
Totally.
So why be foolish when we can be smart? Yeah. And a smart person is smart because they accept the truth. Not because they got big degrees and, have a lot of book knowledge on all kinds of different areas of material, existence. That's not a smart person. Wisdom comes from truth. Yeah.
Yeah. It's and the another idea is that which is brought up by Bhaktivedanta Swami in a purport in Bhagavad Gita, is that this is chapter 4, text 10. He says that some people are too materially attached and therefore do not give attention to spiritual life. Some of them want to merge into the supreme spiritual cause. And some of them, and this is, I guess, the idea that I wanted to bring up, some of them disbelieve in everything, being angry at all sorts of spiritual speculation out of hopelessness. So, out of hopelessness, you're angry at all sorts of spiritual speculation.
Yeah. That's unfortunate, but that's the reality. The spiritual interest. We had a lecture Saturday. We were speaking to a Russian audience, and that was kind of the concept. We have no spiritual interest. Like, why don't we have spiritual interest? Mm-hmm. But we don't. I mean, are you interested in? No, I'm not interested. Oh, we have some spiritual programs. I'm not interested. Or if you give them, opportunity. Oh, would you like to come to a meeting on yoga? One of the common questions that they'll come up with, it's not spiritual, is it? Well, oh, no, okay, I'll come. But you say, yeah, it's all about, no, I'm not interested. Just that word makes it so people run away. So what they're doing is guaranteeing a hopeless situation for themselves. They're demanding that they be allowed to remain in a hopeless situation.
Yeah.
Which is, again, that's everybody's choice, but it's unfortunate choice.
Yeah.
Certainly a bad choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's your protection, yeah. You just because you don't want to face the reality of your hopelessness, so instead you just yeah.
Or there's another common rate, false hope. It's a false hope. They have hope, but it's false. I hope things will get better. I hope my investment will turn out. I just, invested heavily in cryptocurrency. I hope. I hope things will go the way I want them to go, I hope the war will be over soon. I hope. Hope, So hope burns eternal, but the false hope doesn't help us.
So, just for what is hope then? What is real hope? Kind of looking back to what we're speaking about. What is real hope then? What is? Where do we turn?
Well, hope is the desire of the soul for a better life. A more fulfilling life, a life of more happiness and satisfaction. I mean, really, if you look at all the things people hope for, is to have a better life. Very few people, I guess some perverted people could, take it the other way, but very few people hope that things will get worse. I hope, I'll get sick. I hope I lose all my money. I hope my relationship, gets so bad I can't stand it. I hope. Very few people have that kind of hope, because that's not a better life. That's, a more uncomfortable, more disturbed, more lack of happiness life. And that's not what we want, because, again, the nature of the soul is to be happy, to be satisfied, So we're hoping for an increased level of pleasure in life.
Because that's what we see as better. That's what we see as a better life.
Well, increased pleasure is a better life.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's coming from a material source, then it's not a better life.
Right.
Yeah. And often, a real boon materially for our spiritual well-being is a negative. Because, I'm now thinking, well, everything's okay. Everything's great. I don't need to look for anything beyond this. I'm really experiencing a wonderful time right now. And so that's, of course, temporary, and it's not true happiness or true pleasure, but it can be a very big obstacle, I remember, on several occasions, I see somebody. I remember one guy, he was a friend of mine. We did a few things together in Crested Butte, Colorado, and he was a big outdoor guy, skier guy. But he was, single guy, didn't have, any girlfriends or that kind of thing. And but he was, just finding his, quote, happiness in his mountain pursuits. And he was a little bit interested in spiritual life, meditation. He came to some classes, and, I could talk to him a little bit about these kind of things. And then one day I saw him, and, Andy, how you doing? He said, oh, man, things are great. I got a new girlfriend, And I went, oh, man. Because, and it happened as I foresaw. He lost interest in anything other than the girl.
Oh.
His interest in meditation and, chanting and all the things that he wasn't really interested, but he was kind of, dabbling a little bit, had a little bit of attraction and so on. It just evaporated immediately. Because now all he needed to do was spend his whole life, in this new world of love.
He found his hope somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and then the story continues that he got really involved with her, and then another time, you know, I kind of didn't see him so much, and then another time I saw him, and I said, "Oh, Andy, how you doing?" He said, "Oh, great, man." He said, "I'm moving to New York." I said, "What? You're moving to New York?" I mean, he was the opposite of the person who would want to go to New York.
All right.
You know?
Uh-huh.
Mountain guy, small town, every day, you know, living the life in nature and that kind of guy, simple guy, you know. And now you're going to move to New York, which is the opposite of all that. And he said, I said, "Why are you moving to New York?" And he said, "Oh, well, my girlfriend is going to go to school there, and so I'm going there with her." And I went, "Okay, I understand." You know. So she took him right away from, you know, his nature. You know, he was naturally that kind of guy. And I don't know what happened after that. I never heard from him again, but I'm sure he didn't have such a great time in New York City.
Wow.
You know. So, but the point is that sometimes our good material boon is actually not good. You know. I mean, I've read accounts of studies that have been done on people who won the lottery. And almost without exception, they said they wish they'd have never won it. It ruined their life. You know, because all of a sudden, you know, they got all this wealth, but they also got all the problems that come with wealth. And, you know, people coming out of the woodwork wanting them to help them financially. And, you know, relationships got destroyed and whatever. And so they said, it was much better before. You know. And so
you gotta be
that's how it is.
You gotta be careful what you wish for then, you know.
Yeah.
That's another.
That's right. That's exactly right. Because if you don't know what's good for you, then you don't know what to wish for.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And it's true that the Lord, you know, fulfills our desires. If that's what you really want, then that's what you're going to get. You know, I was told that early on when I first came to this Bhakti Yoga teaching, that be careful what you wish for, because if you really want it, you're going to get it, you know. And what's good for us materially oftentimes is not good for us spiritually. And what's good for us spiritually may well not be good for us materially. You know, so you got to see what's really good for me, the spirit soul, not what's good for my body, what's good for my senses, what's good for my false ego, what's good for, you know, my self-aggrandizement and whatever. You know, because that's not me.
No.
And it's like we read in Bhagavad Gita recently on our study in the 18th chapter. You know, it starts out like nectar, but ends like poison. You know. So that's all education. It's all education.
Yeah.
You know, we're either educated in life or we're not.
Yeah.
You know? And if we're educated in real life and understanding, then our life will be good and it'll be full of hope. And if we're not educated in real life, then, you know, the future is not going to be good at all.
Yeah. And it's not. And another thing that we often mention, and this is, you know, just that it's not all or nothing. It's even one verse in the Bhagavad Gita, I think it's maybe the most famous one in terms of hope, you could say, is that chapter 2, text 40, that in this endeavor there is no loss or diminution, and just a little advancement, or it says, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
Yeah.
So it's...
Yeah, that's a very important point that you just brought up. It's not all or nothing. And that's maybe what people hear when they hear us speaking.
Yeah. I know, which is a danger always. I mean, because we say what we say. We try to share the truth, but it's not, you don't have to accept everything or follow everything to, for you to have a benefit from it. And
just like you just read, a little endeavor on this path can save one from the greatest fear. And you know what the greatest fear is? Well, time is almost up, but you know what the greatest fear is?
Fear of death?
No. The greatest fear for the soul is losing the human form of life. So, a little endeavor, a little progress on this path can assure us that we will get another human birth in the next life. That's how the system is designed. That's the arrangement. If you make a little progress on this path, that means you used your human form of life for its intended purpose to some degree. Therefore, you will get a chance to continue in your next life in a human body. That's what it means. And if you lose the human form of life, then you've lost the greatest asset. Because in the lower forms of life, the soul has no facility for any kind of spiritual endeavor. So that's why we're saying, if you just do this a little bit, if you chant just a little bit, if you entertain these truths a little bit, that is wonderful.
And it's not that we're great musicians or playing some, we're not. But the fact that we're adding the mantras to our music is just making it. I mean, after this concert tour, I just see how much in reality that awakens people, that enlivens people. They say that, and you see that from the great reality that they're living in, they suddenly come to life again. And it can be small signs, it can be, but a lot of people just really were so honestly appreciated that, and we're very, very touched by that. And because that's the reality. We as spirit soul need that nourishing, that inner food, that love, and the mantras really do give us that. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yes. That's a wonderful tour you guys did. That's great.
Yeah. Very, very fortunate to be able to do this.
And when you see what you saw, that just gives you more determination.
Exactly.
Like, there's something here that I have been given, and I can give it to someone else.
Yeah.
And the value of that gift to them is immeasurable.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So, yeah, thank you guys for doing that.
Thank you for making it possible, for teaching me this, and answering my questions through the years. And so,
it's word of mouth too, those people are going to tell somebody something.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which makes it so somebody else might be a little more receptive than they would have been otherwise. Yeah. If somebody recommends you something that you don't know that person, it's like, oh, I don't know. But if a friend recommends it,
totally,
then it's much more likely that you're going to entertain that idea or accept it or try it or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So friends, passing it to friends is the best.
So if you have friends, I think most of us listening have friends, then you can tell your friends.
Yeah. Please do.
Yeah.
Well, Ruben, our time is up.
Yeah. Chant.
Again.
Yeah. Little chant. Yeah.
Yes, we're going to have our chant with our mantra, Haribo, Goranga Haribo.
Yep.
And one thing about these mantras that, many of us have actually experienced is that they're ever fresh. You don't get tired of them, So you can say, well, wow, we chanted that last week. Yeah, and the week before, and the week before, every other week. But if you really just think about it, but I like it. It's great, It's ever fresh because it's spiritual. It's not material. Spirit is ever fresh. That's why the soul is ever fresh. Transcendental sound is ever fresh. Etc. Okay. Goranga Haribo. Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo, Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo, Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo. Haribo, Goranga, Goranga, Haribo. Haribo, Goranga, Haribo. Haribo, Haribo, Goranga, Haribo. Haribo, Haribo, Goranga, 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 Haribo. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching.
Thank you for watching. And thank you, Balakhilya, for talking.
Yeah, thank you, Ruben. You're always there looking up the quotes and sharing your experiences.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's what this podcast is about, just sharing what we happen to know and see. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, see everybody next week.
Yes. Thank you, Balakhilya. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Share the link, subscribe, support our channel, and thank you very much.
And we'll see you soon again.
Namaste, Haribo.
Haribo. As always, thanks for listening in. Thanks for being here with us. And if you have any questions, write us. Please do. And comment, give your reviews, subscribe either on YouTube or your podcast app that you're listening to. And, you know, there are plenty of episodes more you can check out. So do that. There's a lot more. And if you'd like to stay updated, we have an email list, and we have Patreon where you can make a little mini donation if you'd like to help our project running. And I hope to just hear from you soon. Have a great day, and always stay true to yourself and dare to break trail.